Okay, hello everybody. I think we're going to get started. So, thank you for coming to our first Eagle Lead presentation focusing on the College of Business Administration. Eagle Lead stands for Leadership, Engagement, and Development and is a speaker series debuting on campus this semester. This session is being recorded just for future viewing purposes and for other students who couldn't make it tonight. Throughout Eagle Lead, each college at the university will have 3 feature weeks, including an introduction, which is what we're doing tonight, a leadership topic, and speaker from the community. We hope that you'll join us for the remainder of these presentations for the College of Business Administration and for the remainder of the leadership presentations throughout the semester. You can find more information and a complete schedule of these presentations on the Cove social media pages. So to start off the College of Business Administration's presentations with Eagle Lead, we have Professor Scott Reber and student Carson Radl. After they have finished their presentations, there'll be time for questions at the end. So if questions come up during the presentation, you can either save them for later, or private message either Megan or myself in the chat, and we have the LIC before our name. But yeah, you guys are all good to go.
Okay, so I guess you want me to start first. I will share my screen. Okay, I'm Scott Reber. I teach business communication in the management department here at UWL. And no matter what field of endeavor one pursues, be it healthcare, manufacturing, or the performing arts, there will be an aspect of business to it, since any organization, big or small, to flourish needs to be well organized, well run, and well funded, or at least it needs to be solvent. And that's where the College of Business Administration, or the CBA, comes into play here at UWL. This evening, I'm going to touch briefly on each department within the college and offer some reasons why a student might want to take a course in this discipline. Let's start with information systems. In this digitalized world of big data today, organizations place high value on gathering, managing, and analyzing information. For example, a big medical center like Gunderson or Mayo will have IS professionals design and monitor their patient records and billing system. And a public library like the one we have in La Crosse will have IS professionals design their book checkout system and their fine paying system. So that's what IS professionals do. In addition to managing data, all organizations need some sort of public relations or marketing dimension. And if you take a marketing course, it can teach you how to establish and manage a brand. It can teach you how to plan an event like a fundraiser and how to promote a product or a service. Even in times like COVID, Pfizer needs to have a public relations arm or a public relations dimension to the company. Along with promoting themselves, organizations need to keep accurate records, not only of revenues and expenses, but of course of employee payroll and of tax obligations. Keeping accurate accounts can lead to business opportunities because managers can then analyze reports and the figures and that indicate, which division or which segment of the business is the most profitable. And accounting majors become certified public accountants, CPAs, but they also become financial managers and bankers and fund managers and so on. So it's important to keep accurate records. Perhaps you're interested in, say, the benefits versus the costs of taking a certain action, or of the generational or environmental impacts of a business decision, or how a pandemic like COVID-19 has affected and will affect the lives of consumers, locally, regionally, nationally, globally? If so, then an economics course might interest you. No matter if you're an individual or a Fortune 500 company like 3M or Delta or Lockheed Martin, you'll need to manage your money well. Those with financial expertise become investors, real estate developers, treasurers, wealth managers, bankers, government comptrollers, and so on. So just like all organizations have some kind of a marketing function, of course, all organizations have some kind of they need to be on sound financial footing. And finally, all organizations to succeed must be well run. And so the upper level managers need to set goals and take methodical steps in achieving them. All organizations need good leaders and good managers. And sometimes that's one and the same person, but often it's two different people, as in the case of Apple here. The success of Apple was based not upon just Steve Jobs, the visionary leader. It was also founded on Steve Wozniak, the astute manager who hired the hardware and software engineers and set production schedules. So all organizations can benefit greatly from leadership, management, operations, and organizational behavior. And finally, I think it was a sage, it seems anonymous, but a sage who said this about the world of business. A person is judged by the company they keep. Solvent, right? Lehman Brothers did not remain solvent, unfortunately. Does anybody have any questions about the different departments within the CBA and their general benefit for you to take a course there?
If there are no questions right now, we'll move on to Carson's student perspective, and then we'll revisit questions at the end of the presentation. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me speak today. It's a pleasure to be here. As Liv said, my name is Carson Radl. I'm currently a junior in the College of Business Administration. I'm double majoring in accounting and finance with a minor in information systems. So a few of those different departments Professor Reber just talked about. A little more background on me is I'm very active and involved on campus and in the CBA. I'm serving as president of the investment club this year. I'm treasurer of Beta Alpha Psi, the accounting honor society, and I'm also a member of Delta Sigma Pi, the professional business fraternity on campus. So today I just wanted to share my journey, my experience, how I got to where I am today in the College of Business Administration. So starting out, coming into college, I was interested in business and thought that, maybe I would be interested in a career in business. So I declared a finance major. Wasn't really defined by that, knew that I could switch to something else if I wanted to, while I took those gen ed classes and those prerequisite classes to sort of figure out what I wanted to do. After taking some of those classes, I learned that yes, business is definitely what I'm interested and very passionate about. After taking the first two accounting classes that all business majors have to take, I was reached out to by a professor who told me that I should consider adding an accounting major. So I put some thought into that, and it turns out that's what I wanted to do. After graduation, my goal is to take the CPA exams and become a certified public accountant. So I also added an information systems minor after taking that prerequisite class 2 as a sophomore. So it took me, a good 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do exactly in the College of Business. So I'm here to say that if any students can relate to that, you don't have to have it all figured out by day one. There's certainly time learn what you're interested in and what you want to do. I also had a pretty unique experience in this College of Business Administration last semester, where I took part in the integrated core program, which involves an application process, and only 30 students are selected each fall semester. But we took 4 of the core business classes in finance, marketing, and management, while also working on 3 separate projects with the same team throughout the semester. The final project, which was really cool, was a consulting project for the Children's Museum of Lacrosse. So really cool opportunity to work and gain real world experience with an actual business, while also taking college classes here. Great opportunity to develop some of those teamwork and communication and critical thinking skills. So that pretty much leads me up to today. So that's been my journey in the College of Business so far. I wanted to share a couple more sort of tips that I give to any younger students out there considering a business major. And number 1 would be to really get to know your professors. I think here at UWL, we have a pretty unique opportunity that we have some smaller class sizes. So it's much easier to reach out to a professor, ask them questions, not always about homework, but maybe about their research or any work experience they had before becoming a professor, or why they decided to go into teaching. I think that's super interesting, and a huge benefit to that for me that I found is building that relationship, especially with business professors that you might have early on in college, and then you could possibly have them later on as well. For example, I had an accounting professor in one of those first few principles classes that I had this semester as well, and I had already developed that great relationship with her, and we were able to have a conversation the first day of class, and it was really cool to have that relationship. And I don't think in those bigger lectures at maybe other universities we'd have that opportunity. So definitely take advantage of that. And then my second piece of advice would be to, maybe I'm biased, but it would be to get involved and active in student organizations on campus. I thought of a random quote popped into my head when I was practicing for this was, "The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now." So, freshmen, sophomores, even juniors, or if incoming freshman students see this, my advice would be to join a student organization or 2 right away. And if you haven't, there's a whole semester ahead of us right now to do that. There are tons of benefits to this that I found, and not only do you get a resume building experience, you meet like-minded students with similar interests and goals outside of class. You have the opportunity to meet with employers and companies and build those connections now, so that when you're looking for internships and jobs later on, it's less of a hassle to build those connections. And I found that not only joining a student organization or club and getting involved, but also taking on leadership positions is huge, and it was crucial to my own development and increasing my confidence and my leadership skills. And it helps me stand out. Like, I've had several interviews this past year, and just having that experience to talk about with employers is extremely valuable. And it also, supplements. You don't have to join a club that's pertaining to your major, but it also helps supplement some of those things you learn in class too. So that's really all I have to talk about today. I hope some of that was relatable, and any students here can apply it to their own academic careers. But thanks again for letting me speak today, and I look forward to answering any questions.
All right, thank you. That was very good and really informative. I think now we're going to open it up to questions. So if anyone has any questions they would like to ask to either of our speakers, now is the time that you can do that. You want to turn on your mics, or you can put them in the chat as well.
So Carson, I'm interested in how the writing emphasis component worked with the integrated core course.
Yeah, so with those 3 projects, each one included a formal business report. So as a team, we drafted this business report, pretty lengthy document, I would say, but that involved all our research and work, and pretty much everything from our research was laid out in that business report, and then we then took that and sort of condensed it into our presentations to the professors and for the final project to the client.
I have a question. So how do you juggle being involved in so many different clubs and organizations?
Yeah, great question. It definitely, another skill that I didn't mention was time management. Definitely have learned how to manage my time wisely. I keep a very detailed calendar every day. Some days it's very full and broken down into every 15 minutes, but I couldn't imagine being in college and not doing all these things and being active on campus. It's just, for me, it's a really rewarding and beneficial experience. And I feel like these opportunities only come once, so I want to make the most of it. But yes, it's definitely takes a lot of time management.
Thank you.
Of course, the skills you're building in college for managing your time will serve you well when you become young parents and you're juggling parenthood with your early career, and you'll be pressed for time during that period as well.
Exactly right. Yeah.
All right, I know that you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what are some student leadership opportunities that people can take advantage of in this college?
Yeah, so there are several clubs in the College of Business Administration specifically. There's several. They're on the UWO website, so any business students, I would recommend going on there and looking at the different opportunities and finding out what you're interested in and maybe joining there. And then once in those clubs, I know every club has an executive team where they elect a couple of students at the end of the year to run the club the following year. So that's how I've gotten into these different leadership positions. So that's what I would recommend.
One of the best ways to practice leadership I've found is within the classroom itself. Now that all of us are online and we're taking these Zoom courses, those persons who are actively engaged in the discussions and who spearhead the projects, whenever there's a group project, they take the lead on the project. That's a wonderful way to practice your leadership skills, just in the context of the course, not in extracurriculars, but within the course itself.
That's a great point. Thank you.
Yeah, I think those are both really important and like different sides of leadership. So if nobody has any other questions, just what is one final key takeaway that you would like the people today to know and people who might watch this later?
One thing I liked about Carson's presentation was that he has dibbled and dabbled in lots of different things, exploring his possible interests, and then one of them became his main focus. That's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to do if you've got some electives. Take a course in a field that you don't think you might not major in, but you're just exploring it, and then see if you like it. It may spark a change in your curriculum, in your enrollment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. One more thing that I would say is So there's the prerequisite classes to get into the College of Business. I know you apply like spring semester, sophomore year typically. And so those classes you take before getting into the College of Business, for me, I really enjoyed them while I was in them, learning about the basic business topics. But now in these upper level courses that I'm taking, we continue to build on that foundational and fundamental knowledge. And to me, that's really rewarding and really cool. So I would recommend to any younger business students is to take advantage of those classes early on, the lower level classes, and learn as much as you can, and because it will come back, and it's always great to build up a good foundation.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we're just going to wrap up. So thank you again to both Professor Reber and Carson, our wonderful speakers, for great presentations. And then thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight and participated in our first Eagle Lead presentation. Please join us next week for a presentation. We're doing Tools for Successful Leaders. And then the week after that is the final presentation for the College of Business Administration. And there we have a community speaker and a small business owner joining us. So have a great rest of your night, and thank you again.